Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to ask a favor of you. If any of you are going in and out of the room, would you keep that aisle open so that our cameraman can do his job and then put this on videotape so Cappy can remember the night that you gonna keep that tuxedo or gotta be in a thing? All right, a couple of announcements. Just trying to quiet everybody down if I can. We got word tonight that a young man who was at one time with Liberty Mutual is now with the Foley Smith firm. Got some excellent news today. Dave Wecker apparently passed the bar this year. Where are you, Dave? Congratulations, Dave. I wish that Jim Abrams had passed the bar today, but apparently he stopped every one of them on the way. You don't get a chance too often to thank people who work and work very hard for an affair like this. And it's been a couple of years since I've taken the opportunity to thank a lady that I spend a lot of time with, and she's shaking her head no right now. But I just want to thank my wife, Mary, for all the work that she does for me. Thank you. I have another pleasurable job, and that is to introduce the table in front of us, at least Cappy's family. And first of all is his sister Beatrice, and Beatrice O'Shaughnessy was known by most of us who were in the business because Charlie was loved by all of us. Beatrice, thank you for having me. Next is Miss Laura Capobianco, who is the honoree's daughter, and a pleasure to have Laura with us, all the way from Minneapolis, Minnesota. And also Cappy's son and daughter-in-law, Vincent and Michelle, who come in from Minneapolis, Minnesota. No flowers for you, Ben. We have taken the liberty of inviting someone here tonight who is well known by most of you. He's an elderly gentleman, so I hope that you'll be quiet and you'll allow this man to say a few words for Cappy. He's an old friend. They were school chums, and that's the reason we brought him back, or brought him in here tonight. Would you bring the gentleman out, please? I know that, just take it easy. He's come a long way, and he's 2,000 years old. So if you welcome Cappy's schoolmate, being helped by Alan. Over here, sir. Sir, over here. Be careful, sir. Maybe you could help him a little. Hello there, old timer. I say hello there, old timer. Hi there. You must be the 2,000-year-old man.
My nephew Captain, he's I'm 3,000. He's already having health problems.
Cappy has health problems?
A little health problems. He went to a doctor, and the doctor asked him for some help. And because he said to the doctor, every morning I get up at 6 o'clock, he says, and I pass my water and I have a bowel movement.
So what's wrong with that?
He doesn't get up till 9.
So if Calvi is 2,000, how old are you?
I'm the 3,000-year-old man.
3,000 years old? To what do you attribute your remarkable longevity?
Kumquats.
Kumquats?
Kumquats. Sure. Any food sounds like it should be with a K is good for you. Corn, cabbage, kale, potatoes, kumquats. Even rotten ones are good for you.
What about sex? Is sex good for you?
Oh yeah, all kinds, all kinds.
Oral sex?
Sure. We old timers, we talk about it all the time. Can't do it, but we talk about it.
Were you ever married?
Oh yeah, many, many times. To all kinds of women.
Jewish women?
Oh sure. I was once married to a Jewish nymphomaniac. She had to have it at least one time a month.
Tell me, 3,000-year-old man, when you were a young man, was there comp way back then?
Was it comp? Oh yeah.
Who were the first claimants?
The first claimants was gorillas and their widows.
Widows?
Oh yeah, from every claimant there came a widow.
How come?
Surgery.
Surgery?
Of course, the big injury then was a hernia, and then the gorilla died.
You died?
Usually from the anesthetic.
What anesthetic?
There's a big club over their head that was the anesthetic. Sometimes they clubbed them a little too hard.
But some survived the anesthetic.
If they survived the anesthetic, they couldn't stop the bleeding. They had a widow.
What kind of job did they have to cause the hernias?
Rocks. Moving rocks.
This was a job?
Okay, this was a good job.
And were the widows given awards?
Oh, you bet. Because they got like a coat from a saber-toothed tiger.
A tiger skin coat?
Sure. Only the person who caught the tiger didn't do so good. But he didn't need the surgery because the tiger took care of that.
Did comp progress after that?
Oh, sure. After that, in biblical times, it became a law.
Who made the law?
A comp claimant.
A comp claimant?
Yeah, he became known as the lawgiver.
The lawgiver. What was his name?
His name was Moses. He was up on a mountain. He picked up two big rocks.
The tablets?
The tablets. And so on the way down the mountain, he slipped. He got a hernia.
He got a hernia moving the rocks.
Yeah, so on the tablets, Moses, he wrote down all the laws, and one of the laws he wrote down, he should get comp.
One of the laws concerned workers' compensation?
He didn't know, it's a small footnote on the tablets.
Was there a comp lawyer?
Oh, yeah, Cappy, he was the first. He was on the bottom of the mountain. He had a retainer and a peat tree.
A peat tree?
Yeah, a peat tree. They didn't invent paper yet, so it was papyrus.
Now, did the awards get any better?
Oh, sure. When this guy Moses came around already, you had all kinds of good awards. Manna from heaven, cows, sheep, goats.
No pigs?
Hey, Moses was a kosher guy. What are you doing?
Did they have a board with the chairman in those days?
Yeah, Pharaoh was the chairman. Pharaoh.
Or were there other memorable chairmen?
Well, let's see. There was some pretty notorious chairman. Around 440, there was a guy, a chairman in another country. His name was Attila.
Attila?
Yeah, and Attila. Then later came a guy called Torquemada. This was around 1420. Then they had another notorious guy.
Notorious?
The worst. In the 1980s, there was a guy that had Steingart.
Tell me, did they always have penalties in workers' compensation?
You heard of Joan of Arc? Forgot to pay the water on time.
Joan of Arc?
Also, the witches in Salem came late to a comp hearing. They all went to insurance carriers.
And you knew all these guys?
Oh, I knew them. I knew them all, the great, the near great, and Cappy, he also knew them.
Speaking of knowing people, did you know any American revolutionary personalities?
Oh, I knew them all. I knew them all.
Patrick Henry?
Patty, sure. He's a talker. He yelled a lot, made a lot of noise. Patty.
And George Washington?
Oh, yeah, George. Nice guy. Had rotten teeth. I told them all the time, George, oak lasts longer than balsa wood.
And how about Paul Revere?
Paul Revere? A rat, anti-Semite, a lowlife, a rotten person.
Wait a minute. Paul Revere was anti-Semitic?
You didn't know? He rode around the whole country yelling, "The Yiddish are coming, the Yiddish are coming!"
No. He yelled, "The British are coming, the British are coming."
British? Oh boy, do I owe that family an apology.
Speaking of family, all this time, Cappy has been around?
Sure. And the family is so proud of him.
Proud? Why? Is Cappy neat?
Oh, he's neat. The man on 12 pairs of underwear, one for every month.
And is Cappy bright?
Not too bright. The man was an inventor. He tried to invent a solar flashlight. Can't all be germs, you know.
I know Cappy is 2,000 years old. Tell me, is he still sexually active?
Oh, sure. Even last week, he was talking to me about sex. And Cappy asked me, he says, "Uncle, 3,000-year-old man," he says, "I have sex very weekly. Very, very weekly. And how many times a week is semi-annual?"
But basically, Cappy is in good health.
Oh, yeah, he's in very good health. Except he has what they call a sex-related disease. But there's good news and there's bad news.
What's that?
Well, the bad news is Cappy is so worried about safe sex that now he's developed carpal tunnel syndrome.
That is terrible. What's the good news?
The good news is it helped improve the grip on his golf club.
I'll leave you now, Father.
Cappy, thanks for the many laughs and the fun on the golf course, and especially those ridiculous skinny legs in the shorts that you wear. And for God's sakes, will you please stop coaching me and can screw up my own golf game without your help?
Excellent job, Marvin. Marvin just didn't seem himself today. He just seemed most improved, didn't he?
He's a hairy guy. There he goes.
Jimmy, how's your coffee, Jimmy? There's one in every crowd. Oh, you screwed up all my cards here. Next on the agenda, we have Mr. Alan Chatkin. And I just want to say a few words about Alan, who was a modest man. And I must say that there's much to be modest about. And he has recently been called the Don Rickles of the Workers' Compensation Board, and he's here to prove that tonight. Alan Pack. I feel like a Ron Abbott of the Workers' Compensation Board. Good evening. My name is Alan, and I'm still an alcoholic. And I can see that this is still the right meeting. Now, I've taken a lot of criticism over my roast at last year's dinner. Some of you complained that it was too long, so I've decided to bow to the pressure and cut it short. Thank you, and good night.
Come on, Al.
All right.
Hold it down, folks. People have to get to their trains. I'd like to introduce someone now who actually, he makes me feel like he's my son. He rudes me, he's obnoxious, he's ungrateful. In fact, he is my son. Bob Helbach.
Henry Capobianco, attorney or used car salesman. I mean, look at this face. Is this a guy that you'd expect to be arguing legal principles or selling an 82 Buick short of your parts? Capobianco. Does he look like a Capobianco? I mean, I remember the first time that I had to appear against Cappy. It was in Charlie Murata's part. And Judge Murata said, sit down, you have to wait for the carrier, Mr. Capobianco. So I said, uh-oh. I sit down, I'm waiting for a tall, dark, Italian, mafia-looking type, you know, guy's been made, Capobianco. In walks a short, tan, white-haired, balding guy, straight out of Miami Beach. I'm talking white shoes and plaid pants. I said, now I know why they call you Cappy. You're not Capobianco. But think about it. I mean, an attorney who uses the name Cappy. Isn't that the name of a cartoon character who sits on a bar stool all day, smoking a dozen cigarettes, chasing skirts, and talking football? And maybe that is you, Cappy. I mean, one thing that you definitely notice about Cappy is his wardrobe. He must certainly shop the finest garage sales in town. I mean, this guy makes Mel Tram look GQ. I have to admit, really, it's got to be tough for him to buy clothes. I mean, there's only so many suits made by Garanimals. But it's his dentist, though, that gives Cappy his sage fashion advice. Cappy once asked him, Doc, what do I do about my yellowing teeth? The dentist told him, wear brown. Once in a while, though, you really have to feel sympathetic for Cappy. I mean, if Chicky has a bad hair day, she wears a black wig. If Cappy has a bad hair day, that means there was more hair in his sink than there is on his head. And I mean, easy, you'll have your turn. And I mean, it can be tough for him out there shopping for shoes, too. How many pairs of white loafers did Tommy can't name? And I mean, he goes through them like, well, Whites and Wexler goes to Associates. Plus, I mean, really, Cappy's not the brightest guy. You know how our industry uses a lot of abbreviations, ANCR, AWW, or Charlie Murata's Dill Whip, Disability Lesson Waiting Period? Well, when I told Cappy yesterday that NAFTA was approved, he got all excited. He thought it meant no final adjustments on a Thursday afternoon. He thought he had it all. admit, though, Cappy isn't the only one with a keen fashion sense. I mean, look at Rich Kellman and John Posnanski. They've been predicting for years that the 70s would come back in style. As a matter of fact, they've been saving their wardrobe for it. But now we have bell-bottoms, long hair, tie-dye clothes. Next thing you know, they'll be predicting the board will bring back late-night earrings. And then, of course, Bill Jones heard the 70s were back in. He thought that meant 70-cent hamburgers at McDonald's. And then there's Alan Katkin. Well, Alan's still waiting to figure out which decade he'll fit into. And on the other hand, you have Marv Jasper, his sidekick. He's been around since the first decade. But speaking of old men, I mean, I guess everybody's heard that due to my father's health problems, he's had problems chasing ambulances lately. Now he just passes out his cards to his fellow patients at the doctor's office. Hugh Boyle tells me that he's quite impressed with Jim Abrams' knowledge of the law. Hugh expects that one day Jim might even be able to be appointed to the Supreme Court of the United States. Then again, why not? I mean, the court has already had a frankfurter and a burger. Why not a turkey? And you know, the recent realignment of judges has brought Judge Warren Finkelstein to the Staten Island calendar. In a short time, Judge Finkelstein's been able to have a significant impact. As a matter of fact, I understand the sale of scotch in local establishments has risen 50%. But wait, I digress. We're here tonight to pay tribute to Cappy. I mean, a man who knows everybody and calls us all by our first and last name. Hey, you! But Cappy's probably best known as the man with the butt. And I'm not talking about his rear end. He is a man who has so much smoke pouring from his nose that it looks like Puff the Magic Dragon. I mean, as a matter of fact, the fire department showed up at the board the other day on a 3-alarm call. They had reports of smoke billowing out of the lobby of the building. Turns out it was just Cappy and Terry Bayerga and Karen Gilbert out there having a smoke in the lobby. But Cappy spending time with the women really didn't surprise me. I mean, here's a guy who's such a smooth-talking ladies' man that he even gargles with Old Spice. But enough said about Cappy's personal hygiene. What we need now is this year's top 10 list. Yes. Right here, straight from the home office in Paducah, Kentucky, I have the top 10 similarities between Cappy and a used car salesman. Number 10. Neither one bothers with fine print. Number 9. Cappy's idol is Danny, the Honda salesman. Number 8. Both love to play Let's Make a Deal. Number 7. Cappy would throw in Lefkowitz's muffler if he thought it would close the deal. Number 6. Can you name 2 other guys who wear white patent leather loafers? Number 5. Joey Buttafuoco's a distant relative. Number 4. Cappy's fluent in a second language. Just ask him to translate. Trust me. Number 3. Like the showroom, the only thing Cappy's golf bag and bedroom are missing is a stiff driver. Number 2. Cappy's only doing this to pass the time until his real career takes off. And the number 1 similarity between Cappy and a used car salesman, he'll handle your hearing for just $39.99 down. But really, Cappy, I'd buy anything from you, and it's been a pleasure tonight to be part of this tribute, and congratulations.
I write all his material.
Should pay me for it one of these days.
Alan wants to come back. Alan, come back. Be modest, Alan. Be modest.
I'll be right back. Suckers. I talk longer than that when I get a wrong number. As you know, one of the reasons that I agreed to participate in this roast and subject myself to utter humiliation is that it gives me the opportunity to acknowledge some of our deserving colleagues. And it's been an eventful year in our industry. One of the people that I always mention is Warren Paquette. Stand up, Warren. Stand up, Warren. Don't let him speak. I really can't insult Warren this year. Some of you may be unaware that he had a tragedy recently. He was attacked and severely bitten about the mouth by a dog. That's the truth. He had surgery, and fortunately he's recovered. Unfortunately, the dog had to be put to sleep. It wasn't rabies, it's just that after he bit Warren on the mouth, he couldn't stop barking. Another event that occurred this year is that the firm I first broke into this business with, Linden & Gallagher, split up. Paul Plus left the firm of Jackwood, Stoner, Plus, Severance, and Virgo. He had to, he dropped below the firm weight requirement. And he joined Linden & Gallagher, and they became Plus, Linden, Gallagher, and Fields. And then Lenny Linden and Paul Plus split off, and they formed Plus and Linden. Can you imagine a partnership of Paul Plus and Lenny Linden? That's like a merger between Joey Buttafuoco and Saddam Hussein. On a sad note, I would like to acknowledge the passing of a gentleman who was a fixture in our industry for many years, Dr. Jack Allen Kaplan. But there is some good news. I've been informed that at a recent seance he communicated from beyond, and he left this message for you. He'll be back. He's conducted an independent medical examination upon himself, and he's only mildly partially disabled. Where's Chicky? Chicky, where are you? Where are you? You know, last year I was mean to you and I feel bad. But not half as bad as my partners feel, considering the fees we've gotten from you since then. So this year I'm not going to say anything about you. Oh, what the hell. You know, Chicky is a kind of a guru. She's like an advisor to the young women attorneys and hearing reporters at the board. They listen to her. In fact, she told them that sex before marriage isn't bad, unless it interferes with the ceremony. You know, Chicky named her first child after the father, Army. And she likes to have sex in the backseat of her car. The only problem is that she wants her husband to drive. I'm going to cut the acknowledgement short at this point. I learned my lesson. Last year I acknowledged the chair and each of the commissioners individually and in my own unique way. And since then, not only have I won a single appeal, but I'm the first person in history to get a memorandum of board decision that says, na 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 na. Now, what I do for the most part is I stand up here and I insult the members of this panel. And I have to admit I was kind of concerned. I mean, what we call the trouble that Ted Danson and Jackie Mason got into at recent roast. You really have to be careful. There's the NAACP, the ADL, the NOW. Then I realized I've got nothing to worry about. Morons don't have an organized support group yet. And that leads me directly to our master of ceremonies for the evening, the distinguished Robert Helbach Sr. You know, Bob has two passions in life, the ANCR dinner and golf. And he's got a problem with golf. One day I asked him what his handicap is, and he said, honestly, Bob has a different name for golf. He calls it connect the sand traps. And joining us on the dais again this evening is Robert's progeny, Bob Helbach Jr. Now, Bob Sr.'s passion is golf, Jr.'s is politics. In fact, he was very heavily involved in the recent successful Staten Island secession vote. And the other day he said to me, there's just one thing I don't understand. If Staten Island separates from New York City, how are we going to keep it from floating away? and ever the astute politician, Bobby Jr. is an environmental safety activist. He told me that he wants to remove smog, auto emissions, toxic chemicals, and acid rain from the air. But he was wondering, if they take all that out of the air, what's going to hold the birds up? Fortunately for Bobby, politics is like sex. You don't have to be good at it to enjoy it. And moving right along, we come to Jim Abrams. Now, last year I told you that Jim was dumb, but I have to admit he's improved. He no longer thinks that 22B is a bingo number. Look, I tried to be nice, but I'm sorry, I can't lie to you, he's still dumber than dirt. Jim is so dumb, he thought Bhopal was an Indian restaurant. He's so dumb, I once said to him, hey, there's a dead bird, and he looked up. I mean, he lost his shoes one day. He put them on the wrong feet, then he couldn't remember whose feet he put them on. And as you can see, he's got a bit of a problem with alcohol. I suggested that he join AA. I told him they have an excellent 12-step program. He told me he'd wait until they installed an elevator. And moving from the unconscious to the ridiculous, we come to Marvin Jasper. Now Marvin has the one attribute that is essential for a successful speaker and raconteur. He's totally self-impressed. Actually, I haven't spoken to Marvin in years. I didn't want to interrupt him. He once told me that he talks to himself because he likes dealing with a better class of people. And he said, I'm the greatest thing on earth. I told him he had himself confused with the circus. Let's put it this way, if his head was any bigger, his hat size would be the same as his waistline. By the way, last year's guest of honor, David Tischler, couldn't be here tonight. Allegedly, he's in Florida. Personally, I think he had to stay home because it was Judge Bunyan's turn to attend. That's okay, I've used up all my Tischler material last year. And finally, we come to the man of the hour, or in Cappy's case, minute, Henry J. Capobianco. Now, Cappy holds a special place in my heart. When I went out on my own and I was struggling, Cappy was one of the first people to give me per diem work to do, and then not pay me for it. So, as is my custom, for my contribution to tonight's roast, I'd like to present a brief retrospective of Cappy's life and career. Cappy was born around the turn of the century to a poor but ignorant family. And he did not have a secure childhood. In fact, it was very moving. His parents kept moving without telling him where they were going. His mother tried rocking him to sleep as a child, but Cappy kept dodging the rocks. One day his father took him aside and left him there. He told his father, Daddy, Mommy said you should take me to the zoo. His father said, if the zoo wants you, let them come and get you. And Cappy was not extremely successful in school either. In fact, he just couldn't grasp the concept of Roman numerals. When he was in the service, he thought he was fighting in World War XI. Lack of intelligence being no part of practicing workers' compensation law, Cappy just naturally drifted into this field. Now, Cappy started out working for the Hartford, but when things started heating up there during the Revolutionary War, he moved to Lumberman's Mutual. When he found out that he didn't get to work outdoors cutting down trees, he went back to Hartford. Shortly thereafter, Frank Mantione and Charlie Moyer were hired, and they told Cappy, we have to come to work every day, so do you. So he left. He next worked for Steve Rochewald. Now, a lot of you have never met Steve, but that's okay, neither did Cappy. Next, Cappy formed a partnership with Phil Caputo, and many people thought they complemented each other perfectly. You see, Phil worked from Monday to Friday, and Cappy didn't. But the really interesting thing to me about this partnership is that they hired Richard Kellman. I've been waiting a long time for this. I see, despite my warning, that Richard snuck out early. And last year I was going to do this, and he left, and I didn't do it. But this year, what the hell, I'm going. I am sure that those of you who, like myself, have been subjected to Richard's foul mouth and abusive temper at the board won't mind if I digress for a moment to talk about him. Can you imagine Kellman and Cappy working together? They must have been the Cheech and Chong with the workers' compensation. It was a case of the blind leading the blind drunk. Now, you know there are different kinds of drunks. Jimmy Abrams is a happy drunk. Ray Gorman is a mean drunk. Rich Kellman is always drunk. You know what I wonder? If Kellman completely lost it, went on the ultimate bender and got brain dead, how could they tell? And you've all heard of M&T. Richard holds the distinction of being the only attorney at the Workers' Compensation Board whose drug expenses exceed those of all his clients combined. And ugly? Kellman was so ugly as a baby that his mother used to diaper his face. His father told him he was the cutest baby he'd ever seen, except that he had no nose. Then he realized he was holding Richie upside down and backwards. Even now he doesn't look too healthy. He's the only guy I know whose hair color matches his complexion. And after all these years of abuse, he's really falling apart. You know that earring, that stud everyone thinks is an earring? That's really a thumbtack. All right. One more thing about Kellman. Let's look at his work history. He's worked for Morris Auslander, Joe Berman, Henry Capobianco, and Carl Lefkowitz. What can we glean from this? Obviously, it wasn't for the salary these sports paid. Personally, the only thing I can figure is that he's got a sexual preference for old men with white hair. Okay, enough about Kellman. Kellman was enough to drive Cappy out of workers' compensation, and for a while he dabbled in criminal law, but he wasn't cut out for it. One day a client in a criminal case asked him, "How should I plead?" And Cappy said, "On your knees." So Cappy came back into our field, and he's been in solo practice ever since. One of the benefits of being a solo practitioner is that Cappy can make his own schedule. So now he takes 1 week off, and then he takes another week off. And this has given him the opportunity to expand his outside interests. Cappy is a private pilot. He loves to fly. In fact, he loved flying so much that he decided to learn how to fly a helicopter. It didn't work out. He got it about 800 feet up and he crashed to the ground. When the instructor asked him what happened, Cappy said, "It got chilly up there, so I turned off the fan." And Cappy is quite the fashion plate. How many of you have seen that bright red sports jacket? One day a claimant asked him to bring a bottle of Chianti. At least he's got the wardrobe for an alternate career. I think Cappy will wear anything that doesn't itch. I think he buys his clothes from Mark Shepard or Barnum and Bailey. And those white patent shoes, I mean, he looks like Pat Boone's great-grandfather. But Cappy's appearance has not interfered with his love life. It's his stinginess that does that. I mean, Cappy is so tight with the dollar, he took his date for coffee and donuts. She really enjoyed it. She'd never given blood before. Actually, he took her out to dinner one night. She got so excited she dropped a tray. He let her choose between 2 entrees, a Big Mac and a quarter pounder. But Cappy does always leave a 20% tip. 20% of what anybody else would leave. There's really not much else you can say about Henry J. Capobianco, except how damn old he is. Thank you. Cappy is so old that when he was a boy, the Dead Sea was only 6. He has one, he's so old that he has one of the few Social Security cards left with the numbers written in Roman numerals. Cappy is so old that when he first started flying planes, aviation was dangerous and sex was safe. I mean, you know you're old when your light flashes before your eyes and you fall asleep. You know, Cappy complained to his psychiatrist, Dr. Peter Alden. He said, "Doc, my sex drive is too high and I'd like you to lower it if you can." Dr. Alden said, "What do you mean?" Cappy said, "These days it seems like it's all in my head and I'd like you to lower it if you can." And Cappy went to his personal physician, Dr. Herbie Weiner, for a checkup. And Herbie said, "Cappy, you've got to lose 50 pounds. And Cappy said, "Herbie, I can't possibly be as overweight as you say I am." Dr. Weiner said, "Okay then, according to my chart, you're 10 inches too short." And he told Cappy, "The best thing for you is to cut out sweets, fatty foods, give up alcohol, and stop smoking." And Cappy said, "Gee, Herbie, I don't deserve the best. What's second best?" Cappy, in my book, you're second best to no one. You're a great sport, a great guy, and it's been a privilege to know you.
Here's a man that tells me I think I got 6 minutes to do. You all right over there, Jim?
I'm sorry? Is he done?
The next man I'm going to introduce to you has no equal. Only superiors. And if he's still alive by the time he gets up here, I guess he'll say a few words about Canada. Jimmy Abrams. Jim?
What's my name? Thank you very much. I'm sorry? I promised that I would mention 2 people when I first got up here. And the first one is Ed Hilfer. Eddie. Satisfied? There it is. The second one is Sue Beagle. Sue and I work together. And we work at Foley Smith together. And we're very close. In fact, we share an orifice. I think it's the big one in the back. The one next to the conference room. That's the one. I see. Okay. What conference room? Okay. So, in any case, we all know we're here to honor this guy tonight. Who is that? I don't know you. Hold on. My wife made me bring her back up. I got what? I got 2.
They invited.
No. Okay, now. Moving right along. Bring home 2 containers of milk. Oh, this is my presentation is going to be a little shorter than previously anticipated. I'm actually pleased to be here to honor Mr. Capobianco and all the Copa girls right here at the table. And last year's Honoree, who's not here, but he sent a telegram. I got it right here. From Dave Tischer. It says, "Dear Cappy, congratulations on being honored at the ANCR dinner. And to Bert Bunyan, who's not here tonight, a toast." Now I want to get this right. Okay, there. Thank you very much. Now, most of you folks don't know me. I've been doing workers' comp for about 2 years. But before I went to law school, I worked for AT&T and New York South for 23 years. And my last job there was as a technician down in the Wall Street area. But I started as a splicer in the South Bronx, 4 years. And it was quite an experience. I was shot at. I had a live Irish setter thrown at me off a 6-yard line. I swear to God. I worked in manholes. I worked up on poles. I was a shop steward for 12 years. And I did enough paperwork to kill a herd of horses. A bunch of horses. Well, let me tell you something. Until I worked for the Workers' Comp Board, I never really understood the meaning of the expression shoveling shit against the time. Crazy. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you people are really crazy. What the hell's wrong with you people? First time I met this guy, I'm down at the damn board. I reach in my back pocket for my wallet, and I find myself shaking hands with Mr. Capobianco. When you're new down there, everybody's got something to teach you. And I come up with the... I've come up with the hypothesis that you learn something new every day at the Workers' Comp Board. What's your hands here, man? Get that carpet talk. Get out of here. For example, one of the things I recently learned was that the chair, the Barbara Patton, is the granddaughter of General George S. Patton. That's not the funny part. I've decided, for your pleasure, to compare and contrast it. Like her grandfather, General, she is truly a gifted leader. Unlike her grandfather, who liked to wear a pair of ivory-handled pistols, she preferred to wear a pair of pearl-handled pistols, because being a woman of exquisite taste, she knew that a good set of pearls goes with anything. And finally, like her grandfather, the general, she knew. The hell did she know? She had a habit, just like the general, of slapping people under her command. And in fact, she recently slapped Richie Kelman around. The problem was he liked it a little too much. And he's been following her around for a week like a lost puppy dog. It's terrible. And you learn something new every day. Cappy has taught me how you know when you're getting old. He says, you know you're getting old when you think that Rocky is not Stallone, but a flying squirrel. He said, you know you're getting old when the worst thing about crack was stepping on it. And he said, you know you're getting old when you remember when kids brought 45s to school and they were records. You learn something new every day at the workers' comp board. I'll never forget the first hint I ever got from him. I'll never forget it. He said to me, Jim, beauty is in the behind of the beholder. Now, I don't know what that means, but I never forgot it. Oh, listen. Before this at the cocktail party, Cappy and Judge Gibbons and Judge Chicky, they were having an argument about what women like to do after sex. And I told them I would settle the argument. How many of you ladies after sex like to cuddle? Okay, now, how many of you, like Chicky, like to get up, take a shower, get your money, and go home? See? She was right. Damn, I guess she was right, huh? You know what's really funny? I was a little worried about telling that joke. And yesterday, I went to Chicky and I asked her if it was all right to use that joke. Told her the joke, and she says, yeah, that's all right, but leave one part out. The part about the shower. Leave that out. Swear to God. But I have learned something from her. I have learned something. She told me that you should treat your body like a temple. Unfortunately, she's treated hers like an amusement park. In fact, she has a tattoo that says you must be this tall to get on this ride. Something new every day. I was recently talking to Carl Lefkowitz, and Carl was telling me that the real money in this business is on the claimant side of the table. But then he fell into the speech that all senior partners have. You know it. That's the speech. Money can buy happiness. I hate that. I really hate that. I mean, if these people think that money can't buy happiness, it's obvious to me they're shopping at the wrong stores. And I recently found out too, I didn't know this, that Cappy used to be Richie's boss. This is a marriage made in heaven. Tweedledum and Tweedledum. Richie Kelman taught me the difference between a habit and an addiction. He said his wife recently bought a glass table for the living room, and he said, if you put your feet on it, that's a habit. If you put your nose on it, that's an addiction. You have to excuse me. This is not my tuxedo. This is an Oscar de la Renta. No, this thing on? Okay. I promised also that I would mention Pat Ferrara. Why I didn't see him. I don't know if you know who he is, but I understand Pat is on 2 diets recently. That's because he can't get enough food on just one. See, you learn something new every day at the work. Excuse me, Al, I'll do a thing. Oh, another hint I got from Cappy. This is wonderful. Wonderful. He said these are the 3 rules to live by. That's not one of them. No. Okay. Sorry. I got it. He said 1, never hire family or friends. He said, that's not the funny part. He said 2, never fool around at work. Okay. And 3, never stand between a fat lady and a buffet table. The first 2 can get you hurt. The last one can get you killed. Okay. I found out recently. What are you doing? Okay. I found out recently that Alan Cacklin's firm has just signed up several new unions. They're the unions that represent, let's see, Lazy Boy and Budweiser and Pepto-Bismol. And I think this is very apropos. This way they can represent lazy-ass drunks who are just trying to keep their shit together. In fact, I don't know if you noticed how big he's been getting lately. His wife has taken to hiring rodeo clowns to distract him when she brings the groceries home. You know whose job I really want? I really want Judge Wapner's. You can't buy you yet. I really want Judge Wapner's job. You know why? He spent his whole career being hemmed in by the judicial system. And now he can do anything he wants. He can say, technically, you're right, but you're a jerk. So you win. Oh no, that's not Judge Wapner, that's Judge McDonald. I forgot. Okay. You know whose job I don't want? I don't want a translator's job down at the board. English is a hard language, especially when you get to tongue. English has so many dual meanings, even the small words, like the word it. You know you were in trouble when you were a kid, when you were going to get it. But when you were an adult, getting it wasn't all that bad. And finally, since I seem to have papered the floor with most of my routine, I can only remember one more story about Cappy. I got this from his friend, Mr. Manicotti. He told me a story about Cappy when he was young. It's a little off color, so bear with me. It seems Cappy went to a house of ill repute, and he walked in, and the man says, "Can I help you?" He says, "Yes, I like a little something." She said, "No problem." She said, "Well, there is a little problem. I only got $2. She said, "Get out of here." He said, "Oh, please, oh, please, oh, please." All right, takes the $2, brings him upstairs, opens the door, shoves him in, closes the door. Looks around the room, and the only thing in the room is a bed and a chicken. He'll think as well, it ain't part of the storm. So he goes to town with the chicken and he goes home. The following week he goes back. Ma'am says, "Can I help you?" He says, "Yes." He says, "I'd like a little something." And she says, "All right, no problem." He says, "Well, here's a little problem. I only got $1." So she gets furious. "Get that out! Oh, please, give me the $1." Takes him upstairs, opens the door, shoves him in, and closes the door. Finds himself standing in a dark room. As his eyes get used to the dark, he looks around, he sees some guys standing in a corner. Walks over and they're looking through a one-way mirror. And on the other side is a man and woman going to town. So he stands there and he's looking for a few minutes, and he nudges the guy next to him and says, "Hey, this is pretty good, huh?" The guy says, "You think this is good? Should have been here last week. There's a guy in there with a chicken." Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to say that it seems to me that first you're born and then you die. And the trick is to fill up the middle the best way you can. And it seems to me that Cappy did it with a crummy wardrobe and a lot of class.
Jimmy, now you can have a real drink. He's been drinking tea all night. My job next is to introduce the honoree. But I know Jimmy was getting around about a telegram that came from Dave Fisher. I spoke to Dave Fisher last Saturday down in Florida. Dave had suffered a heart attack about 3 weeks ago. He's all right. He does send his love to Cappy and said that he would love to celebrate with him back. That's the truth. And next I want to introduce a man who has earned his success through bribery, blackmail, and extortion. Our favorite son, Honoree Capobianco.
Oh, I want to thank everybody for being here tonight. I mean, it's really great. I look around and I see a lot of old faces, young faces. Most of you I don't know. Some of you I don't want to know. You can't hear me? Can you hear me now? Yeah, you can know you need 2 mics, you know. How are you going to do? Okay.
Go ahead, Cappy, put it in.
And that's what you only announced up at town. There you go. I didn't write a script for tonight because I look around and I say, well, I look to my right and then I look to my left. If I was younger, I'd throw up. But I only have a few words to say, like, my elbow is the one that's always in your way when you play golf. I have a golfing partner sitting in his den here, the 3,000-year-old man. He isn't kidding, he really is 3,000 years old. You should see him at the golf club. One day he'll learn to hold the right end of that club. He thinks it's a pool stick. And of course his partner, a boy who isn't here, because I don't have a glint of light in my eye for that Chinese skull. That's why he wears a hat on the golf course. Otherwise he has a handicap over us, he blinds us. And why Why is, I don't know what the hell you're laughing at, Cat. Really. A guy had been with, who'd you start with, London? And then he went to Dave Neufeld. And now you're polishing Buicks on weekends? Really tremendous guy. He's sitting here, he's got to hold his head. He's got to hold his foot. You know, a great guy. Another golf partner. He says, let's go play golf. I said, golf cart or wheelchair? He said, wheelchair. And you're laughing. A politician. I don't have to say anymore. And you, an imitation drunk. He's not imitating. It's a big lie. He doesn't imitate. He really is a drunk. You should see him play golf. He's the only guy in the world I ever saw that hit the golf cart, not the ball, the golf cart. He's just great, really great. I look around and I see Jones. What the hell are you smiling at? I mean, you got a lovely wife and you're ugly. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. And Joe Gluck, the epitome of the compensation law. The steel trap brain. Nobody for a brain. And Andy only sitting there with a smile on his face. Ever since your kid told about you getting your pants pulled down, running up the stairs, you've been sitting there. And Millie says it was all a lie, it wasn't her. I look at her. And Daniel Boone sitting in the back of the room. Michigan from the Lumberman Mutual. The only guy who rides a horse and doesn't have a horse. Great guy. And Poznansky sitting around looking around. His father was a great man. His father and I were school chums all the way through law school. We flew together. And he got him. The only way he flies is when he puffs. And he flies, he's about that high off the floor. Gradually goes along. My son sits there laughing. Well, he tries to get home. And I look back and I see Jim and Marilyn. And Marilyn and Jim can get lost and Marilyn can stay. And what are you laughing? You got no hickey on your neck. Rita Harris came in one day at the board with a big hickey on her neck. And Wally Hackner, where is he? Where is he? There he is. Oh, I know he'd be back. I should have looked out there originally. I looked and I said to Miss Harris, I said, what's the matter? That's as high as Wally could get. And then he took Brenda one day, took her to the barber. I come in one day to hair was all frizzled out. She had her corduroys on, of course. But was she here tonight? I didn't see her. Too bad. And I said to her, I said, you went to Roy Hackner's barber. She said, what do you mean? I said, well, you stand in a tub of water and you stuck your thumb into the socket of the water. You know what you say, 75 cents. And there's Pullman, quiet, unassuming, late. He was even late for tonight's party. Yeah. But Bunyan says he don't care. Let it be late. It does him good. He smacks him down anyway. And Chicky, everybody picks on Chicky. Where is she? Where are you, Chick? What do you let him pick on you for? You like that? Chicky and I have been friends a long time. The only thing is that brother-in-law isn't here, Murata. I don't know where it's from. What happened to Johnny tonight?
Charlie's engaged.
What the hell does that mean? He can't find his way. He can't find his way through it anyway. What the hell does that mean? Huh? Consummate. He'll fall in the sink. What do you mean consummate? Last time he took a shower, somebody pulled the plunger. He was gone for 3 days. And Jack Mattis is back at Hour in the Fold. How about that? didn't stay away. You know, they had him down there and they said, you want to work the morgue? Well, I don't want to work the morgue. What do I want to work the morgue for? But we see some old friends. I go back to New York, I could see all my old friends. He said, they're still moving. Almost. Who else we got back there? Oh, Miss Gucciano. And we got Phil Rooney. Is he still there or did he leave? Phil Rooney actually put on a clean shirt for tonight. That was the biggest honor I've ever seen. You know, Phil. If it wasn't for his beard, his collar would be filthy. And Popolowski. God's gift to the Polish immigrant who comes over to collect compensation. The only problem is they know more about the war than he does. He's saying to me, Happy, what do I do? I just get a fee. What about screw the climate? Get a fee. Climate has got more money than me. She's on welfare, Social Security, and she's got a pension. Where'd you get the pension? Well, I said, you did, Sonny. But he's a nice guy, Popolowski, really. They've done a good environment. I don't really have much more to say. What are you looking at, Sabino? Where's Elaine hiding tonight? That's the young one. Where's the old one? The guy with the hearing aid like me. The one that Nancy keeps saying, where's your hearing aid? I keep saying, huh? He says, where's your hearing aid? I said, huh? He says, he never hears me. I said, yes, I do. Right, Nancy? Right? Say yes. Nancy, where's your hearing aid? Well, I want to thank everybody. I think probably getting a little late. You want to get drunk. And I don't like to smile on you. You're waiting to give me something. Again? It's been going on for years. It's horrible. You know, we've got to live it alive. It's great. Absolutely great. Thank you, Robert. You're a good friend and a pain in the ass.
You worked the whole room. Okay, that's it for tonight. I just want to let you know that we've already picked next year's recipient. And is Eddie still here? Eddie Hilfer? Next year, the Friday night before Thanksgiving, we'll see you all. Thanks again. Good night.